Alright, we're going live with a bit of Boros burn tonight. In some ways was kind of encouraged by our last outing with Boros, although I still definitely recognize that it is not the best positioned deck in the format, nor am I going to claim that it is. It's a deck that very much is weak in terms of its game plan, really didn't get any boosts. Sure, we could try Ragavan, sure we could try Darcy at some point. I have done a little bit of experimenting with Darcy and it seemed fine, although I don't think it fixes the fundamental problems of the deck. Just the fact that the power level of the deck is weaker than what the rest of the format has gotten. You know, we do have some small upgrades here. Prismatic Ending over something like Path to Exile is certainly one thing. One copy of Flame Rift. This card might be a little bit better positioned if the format was a little bit less aggressive. Another slight change compared to what lists I previously like to usually run: Fiery Islet over one of the fetch lands. This gives you access to a third color in some corner case scenarios for Prismatic Ending, making Prismatic Ending a little bit more flexible. 4 copies of Smash may or may not be correct in the current format. Depends on how many artifacts you expect to run into. Obviously, Luris is kind of a free roll most of the time. Remember, there was a time where that was a debate whether you should run Luris or not. I think at this point, Luris is by far one of the most played cards in the format, so kind of hard to argue with it. 2 copies of Core Firewalker. Something is missing from this sideboard. I'm guessing it's 2 additional copies of Core. Okay. That's what it was. It's like, I know I'm missing something from the sideboard here. But whether this setup is correct, we'll see as we play more games with Burn. Obviously, Burn, once again, not the best positioned deck in the format, but it's still rather consistent in executing its game plan, still rather decent at what it can do, so hopefully it will perform decently for us tonight. We may not finish the whole league, but I at least want to get another league rolling. I know GG recently had a 5-0 with a very similar list. I think these all kind of harken back to a list from Patrick Sullivan, obviously kind of like the Burn godfather of the format, and just kind of going from there. Pat's never been a particularly good card in the deck. Sure, there are things it can answer that Prismatic Ending or equivalent spells can't answer. You know, you sometimes struggle to answer things like Wormcoil Engine, or Thought-Knot Seer, Reality Smasher. Another thing you can consider doing, without, I think, going too far down the rabbit hole, is something along the lines of trying to set up Delirium and have Unholy Heat. I don't think that's too crazy if you add some Mishra's Baubles and some Darcy's. Eidolon of the Great Revel is a 2-card enabler itself. So, I mean, there's a lot of things you could potentially do to make the deck a little bit more conducive towards triggering Delirium. Obviously, Pirate Spell Balance primarily here for things like Core Firewalker, Sanctum Prelate, or not Sanctum Prelate, the Red-Black Sanctum Core, whatever one that was recently printed. Wish our opponent good luck. So we are against a Luris Mirror, it will look like. Not too many of the other companions see play at this point. Yeah. Sounds a little like not super exciting, but I think it's fine. Obviously, we'd love to have 1-drop, but I'm not going to mulligan a 4-spell hand. So think we're up against the stupid, controlling version of decks that's been floating around. Presume they take Boros Charm here. Is there any reason not to main phase Lightning Helix? I guess Ragavan would be a reason. We don't know that they're on Grixis, but it's certainly a possibility. I don't really keep a one-lander. So there's Sultai. Interesting. Yep, Shadow. Acquisition, take our Luris. Been a minute since I've seen Sultai Shadow. What's up, War Dog? How you doing? Alright. Sultai Shadow. Prismatic endings? Maybe Tormod's Crypts? Searing Blaze doesn't seem the best in this matchup. Eidolons can be a little bit questionable, especially on the draw. They can get outsized rather. I mean, that's the thing, is these okay decks can win some matches. It's just sometimes they're not positioned the best in the format, that's all. So if I only bring in the prismatic endings, do I want to bring in the Tormod's Crypts? Do we suspect our opponents on like Snapcasters and stuff? They're probably on Traverse, so I probably want to bring these in just for like the 4 Searing Blazes? Question mark? Yeah, I'll try it like that. One-lander, not the best one-lander, but we're up against a discard spell deck, so I'm not going to mulligan. Hurting themselves, yep, using the Scry trick. Apparently they don't like whatever's on top. Leading on breeding pool. So we don't know if our opponent's playing Scourge. So doing this because I feel like it's likely. Are we about to get stubborn and yeah, sure, whatever. Opponent with Traverse probably in their deck if they're fighting over Tormod's Crypt. Looks like a Tarmogoyf, yep. 3/4 Tarmogoyf. Opponent with a 4-color pile, interesting. Now our opponent has to make an interesting decision. Life's a mixed bag right now. A lot of things up in the air. The only thing I know about the interviews currently is I got to the last interview with the Pittsburgh company on Wednesday. I'm supposed to hear something in the next couple of weeks, whether I got the position or not. And then I have a video conference interview on Tuesday morning with a company from Maryland. So things are okay, I guess. Not blocking. Going face, or that's going on Eidolon. Okay. Well, I can't have force of negation here, so they're just dead. So I'm not sure how far I'm willing to move is the thing. I originally applied to a bunch of jobs beyond the area that I was really comfortable with, mainly to try to get the process rolling faster to appease the X. But as I'm getting into the process and I don't really know what role she has in things at all, if anything, I might be a little bit more selective in where I get a job. My preference would be the Pittsburgh job. The Maryland job I'm continuing simply because it's one of the top accounting firms in the U.S., and I don't think I'd be their top candidate anyway. So, but I can't really, like, what's the old saying? Beggars can't be choosers. So I'm kind of continuing the processes until I hear from Pittsburgh one way or the other, which means like applying for other jobs and whatnot until I have like some clear indication of what's going to happen. So Stormcrow, good luck. Looks like they also are a Lyris deck. They're a Kahira deck. Alright, so we want to get this game over ASAP, because this is probably the Elementals deck. Of course, they have Solitude turn 1, which kind of freaking sucks. I think here we definitely... Seriously? Oh, this is annoying. Yeah, this Elementals deck is just complete bullshit for anybody that's playing a fair deck. Don't even think we bring anything in anyway. We might bring in like the spell bombs over like a Rift and a Boros charm. But this Elementals deck just beats up on anything fair. Like you saw, we had one of our legitimately best starts and we just got absolutely dumpstered. Like they doubled 2-for-1 themselves and then just recovered like it was nothing. So it's just kind of like... Yeah, it might be exactly what they're looking for, War Dog, but it becomes more a question of, like, how far away am I willing to move from everything? Because I literally have no family or anything in that direction. And, you know, I mean, I don't like keeping 4-landers, but this is really a start that's really kind of hard to overlook. Well, at least we're not going to get turn 0'd hit with a, whatchamacallit again? Solitude. It's not terrible either. Could get hit with a Fury, but I don't think we can really fight that battle right now. They bring in bolts too? Wow. No, we're about to get hit by a frickin' ephemerate. Yep. Well, the furthest... screw this. This matchup's just bullshit. Like, the Elementals deck literally just threw us in a dumpster and trashed us. Like, it wasn't even remotely close. Remember when they played cute things like, the Elemental that brings stuff back? What's up, O'Doyle? They used to, like, bring Lightning Skelemental and all that stuff. They used to play that kind of garbage. Now they play all kinds of good cards, and it's just like... Burn can't compete with that. How you doing tonight, O'Doyle? Once again, pretty decent hand. Don't have any answers to early creatures, but I do still think we keep this hand. Okay. Okay, so we're up against some variant of Restore Balance. So we're going to want to keep the other land in our hand. Just a fair warning, because otherwise we're going to get blown out by old school Restore Balance. Thassa, God of the Sea. Okay, did not see that one coming. So I presume they're going to scry that Thassa to the bottom. Maybe they're not Restore Balance? Is this just like Blue Devotion of some kind? So we went from playing 2021 Modern to playing, like, 2015 Modern? I have no idea what's going on. We know they're playing Border Posts. I would presume they're a Restore Balance deck. I would presume our Searing Blazes are garbage because they're not killing a Thassa. So this is how we play Magic? If they have Leyline, we might have to bring in Core Firewalkers? Question mark. This hand seems fine. So other than the weird border post, they look like just blue-white control with just some random nonsense. Negation, pitching Jace. Okay, Goblin Guide's just feeding them a bunch of lands, sure. Well, I'm glad we didn't deploy double... Okay, Goblin Guide's been 3 for 3 for giving them lands. I'm not a big fan of Goblin Guide in that regard. It just feels like very bad blue-white control. Supreme Verdict? No, Thassa. Okay. I mean, we technically could have tried to win a couple different ways there. I don't know. That was bizarre. As bad as we got dumpstered by elementals, we dumpstered that blue-white devotion, control, Thassa, something variant. So you think Burn's gotten better in Legacy War Dog? That's interesting. Why is that? Less combo decks in the format? Scan seems fine. Keep. Gotcha. Well, glad you're chilling, Doyle. See if our Goblin Guide can actually not get Swords to Plowshare on turn 1. Basic Plains, go. Am I seriously about to get hit by the Bloody Elemental again? Which is funny, because the Urza decks just loved... Oh, no. Oh, no. Are we up against Ad Nauseam? This used to be a hallmark of Ad Nauseam decks. Now I don't know. So they threw away... Hopefully this will give us a little bit more information about what our opponent's on. Okay, there's some type of nonsensical deck. Alright, Death and Taxes is some variant. Could still have the Elemental. Son of a... So tired of seeing this card. At least they didn't have the ephemerate to go with it. With double Archon of Valeria, sure. Okay. Alright, so we probably want the spell bombs. Probably want the prismatic endings. Could arguably bring in some amount of Smash to Smithereens. I need to look at a Death and Taxes list because I have not seen this deck in forever. Which is not a thing I am crying anything over, because I personally don't like the playing against the card Leonin Arbiter. Boo, 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 boo. So, most of them have a Stoneforge package. Most of them are still playing it. So cards I'm not interested in. I'm not interested in these. I'm not interested in these. Boros Charm's fine, but not like super amazing. Go like this. Bring in 3 smashes. This hand isn't super exciting, but I still think we keep it. Problem is our opponent can mold it like 5 or 4 and have Sanctum, Sanctifier, and Vec and still like kind of blank us a little bit. Mishra's Factory, yeah, that probably doesn't bode well for their ability to cast a. But they might still have Solitude. Hmm. That means we had no spell we could cast this turn. The funny part is, though, War Dog and Doyle, is while Burn is not a good deck in the meta, I think Burn might be benefiting from the Ragavan decks being so popular for a while. Because remember, the part that makes Burn good when Prowess is bad is that Burn relies more on its spells than necessarily its creatures. So Burn can still, like, if people aren't packing like life gain and stuff, if they're packing more removal and Sanctum Prelates, and I'm about to get Blood Mooned, and wow, our opponent just, that's just, don't know how I feel about their situation. Don't know that I want to crack my Silent Clearing there. Or if I was going to crack my Silent Clearing, I'm not sure I would have played the Ghost Quarter yet. In case we drew a Plains or something. Haven't seen a Shining Shoal in a while. Alright, I don't think our opponent's going to be firing up their land this turn. Just a guess. It's time to Ghost Quarter one of your lands? I think it is. Presume we can't block here, right? Okay. Do you have Solitude? Do you have another Shining Shoal? Are you just tanking for no particular reason? Okay, so you block so you don't die. Good choice. Good choice. Sure. Sure. I'm playing some weird combinations of colors. So, for whatever reason, we're having throwback modern tonight. I mean, I know I joked and said this was an F&M stream, but we definitely playing against some F&M decks. I mean that as nicely to our opponents as possible. We definitely playing against some F&M level decks here. Okay, Luris and Luris. Sure, hand seems fine. Burn versus Burn? Nope. Inquisition. Goodbye Searing Blaze or goodbye Eidolon. This looks like we're going to play against a real deck round number 5. Or a real deck variant. Take Eidolon. Okay. Yes, we're giving away a little bit of information here, but I'd rather not take the extra damage just to conceal information in what might be a racing matchup. We don't know that our opponent's on a shadow deck, so maybe I'm supposed to hold back there. Searing Blaze can be a little bit awkward against a dashed monkey. Gotta leave the fetch land to have the option of think our opponent was planning on dashing Ragavan there for a minute, and then they realized that would have been a terrible idea. It's one of the variants that's been floating around. It usually has like Darcy, Ragavan, Snapcaster Mage to pair with Luris. Opponent's trying to specifically to blank this is likely Drown in the Lock. That's why I didn't throw Boros Charm into the mix, just because I was fully expecting our opponent to have a Drown in the Lock there. They are Death Shadow, which does make things more difficult. I wonder if our opponent doesn't realize they didn't have to do that there. If our opponent has a counterspell, then they have a counterspell. It's kind of whatever. Apparently they don't, so... Tormod's Crypts and Prismatic Mending. Yeah, Mendings. Come in. Gonna do a bit of a coward split here because we didn't see Darcy or Ragavan out of them, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So... Let's mulligan to 5 cards. Unholy Heat, sure. has to decide which one they want to kill with Unholy Heat. Seal of removal. Sure. Don't really want to deal too much damage to our opponent. Sure. Sure. Opponent could have a Scourge in hand. Drown the Lock? Okay. One card in hand. Should have played hesitating like they might have a counter spell in hand. Eidolon's actually kind of useless here because of seal removal. Yeah, I played this game poorly. We flooded out, but I also played this game poorly. Well, it's just going to bounce this and then it gets to attack with a lifelinker. That took him a while to figure out. This is the way we cast the Ragavan, cast the Ragavan, cast the Ragavan. This is the way we cast the Ragavan so early in the morning. Cast your bloody monkey already. Sure. I don't believe you can suspend from exile because of the way it's templated. Problem is, there's no way we can kill this Luris, so... Even if we could resolve that there... Like this. See if we can win a game on the play. This one seems okay, I guess. Gets to do the Darcy thing. Really kind of hoping we draw a love to draw a basic or a land period. Nope. Well, Keep a one-lander? Be funny if you kept a one-lander. Fortunately, you did not. Land, please. There we go. Strange feeling this is just gonna die. So do I even attack? What's up, Dad boy? How you doing? Opponent's got a monkey. Target player discards a card. How about no? Morning, Philip. How are you? I think, unfortunately, we may have lost this game. If it's not Peace Always list, it's pretty similar to it. It's possible I was just supposed to hold on that to try to answer the Luris. Should have bobbled in, or should have crypted in response. Fortunately, this monkey might just run away with the game, and I shouldn't even let it have it. Yep. Hit a land. Nice. Interesting. Cosmic's Return. Okay. Sure. They've got nothing out of the graveyard to get that I care about, so let the attack happen. Skewer the critics, yeah, that's fine. Card on top, that's rather terrifying. They have a counter spell, we're dead here. They probably have Drown and Lock at this point. Yep. Of course the draw button won't work, so gotta love Magic Online. All these wonderful features and they don't let you use them half the time. Such a wonderful piece of technology. Alright, got the 3-2. Cabal Therapist and 10 play points. Sure. Don't think Cabal Therapist is worth anything. It's worth 0.02 ticks. We're doing good. So I suppose, so the problem with that last game is I definitely screwed up and let our opponent get value out of the graveyard when I should have Tormod's Cryptid. So they wouldn't have had the Ragavan in play, but I'm not sure ultimately how much of a difference it would have made. Could have run in the Core Firewalkers. Like, we suspected they were a Darcy deck, but we didn't actually see Darcy until game number 3. And it's possible we should have run Core Firewalker. The problem is there's a couple different of the Grixis variants running around. There's a Grixis variant with Snapcasters. This one showed us Death Shadow in game number 1. So the format's still got a lot going on with it, and as much as people were saying, or certain people have said, the format has kind of been shaken out already, there's still a lot of decks that are developing, like the 5-color Elementals, 4 or 5-color Elementals decks. Some of the 4-color Omnath piles are starting to get developed. You know, the Ragavan Darcy decks are kind of on the decline a little bit. I'm not going to go out and say that Burn is well positioned, but it's underpowered for the format, and I'm not going to deny that fact. It just is simply underpowered compared to some of the other decks that it's playing against in the format. However, Burn also doesn't currently have a target on its head, which means it's playable. I don't know how good, but it's playable. The problem is a lot of the wins that I've gotten in the last 2 leagues are against non-tiered decks. I think the last league we beat Shron and Living End. was like Tron or Living End or Tron and Is It Prowess. And then we beat, this league we beat like some type of blue-white control with Thassa border post nonsense. We beat a really bad version of Death and Taxes. Like, it wasn't even the Orzhov variant. It was like some type of Jeskai variant. Like, they showed us a blue-white land in Game 1, and then Game 2 they showed us an Inspiring Vantage. We beat 4-color Death Shadow in match number 1, or lost, I can't remember, lost to it or beat it. You know, we played a lot of weird matchups this league. We didn't really see a lot of tiered, the 2-tiered decks. Elementals just donkey stomped us, and the Luris Darcy Luris Ragavan pile. It was a close match, but we don't win grinding matches against that deck. So, details aside, you know, that's kind of a matchup you have to try to win quickly. But they showed us Death Shadow, so, like, how quick can we actually win the game? Just a lot of little factors. Like, the format's still shaking out post-Horizons 2. And, like, there's still no consistently dominant deck other than Hammer Time, and even Hammer Time is beatable if you want to. So format feels okay unless you're a straight control mage. Other than that, like, there are combo decks if you want to play them, there are creature decks if you want to play them, there are mid-range piles that are playable if you want to play them. You know, the format feels pretty balanced. Not necessarily good for old school decks, like Tron doesn't feel well positioned, Boomer Jun doesn't feel well positioned, Burn doesn't feel well positioned, but they're all playable. You can win games with them. So, it's kind of my 2 cents worth. Hopefully, y'all got your entertainment for tonight. This has been John for MTG Nexus. Hope to see you on the next video or the next stream. Good night, everybody.